Hey YouTube, it's Matt with Olympus Reptiles, and today we're going to make Caleb do a little bit of the talking, but I am a camera hog, so I'll do most of it. You're going to start this off. You have found a Facebook post by none other than Darian, who is the owner, the fairly new owner, might I add, of Morph Market, which now means Morph Market, central headquarters, and ownership is located right here in the great state of
Wichita, Kansas.
Well, the state's just Kansas. Yeah. The city's Wichita.
Yeah.
We're not into Wichita.
Actually, I think the headquarters is still in Texas because I see them fly to Texas all the time.
Shut your whore mouth. It's Kansas company now. We need to get some notoriety in this state for all the reptile shit Kansas does. We're going to take it. You know, speaking of notoriety for reptile stuff and social media stuff, do you know what social media influencer, a little bit bigger than us, a little bit, was born in Wichita, Kansas?
No, but I bet Curtis can tell me.
Curtis, who was born in Wichita, Kansas?
Mr. Beast.
With a little bit of enthusiasm.
I did, Mr. Beast.
Mr. Beast! He didn't stay very long. He moved when he was young. Apparently his parents got smart and said, what in the fuck are we doing in Kansas? Actually, Kansas, guys, is beautiful. I love it here. Just don't move here. If you move here, it's going to get full, and then I won't like it here anymore. So stay in the other states. So let's start with this post. It kind of has the namesake of the video. So let's hear it.
So, Darian posted, back in January, someone had made a post about the start of, and he put in quotations, the ball apocalypse.
That wasn't us.
Because there was almost 49,000 ball pythons on Morph Market. Today it's down to 39K. It looks like the market is doing just fine. And then he also had like screenshots showing that, the proof of the numbers.
Yeah, so we decided to look into that a little bit, because we did talk about there being 40-some thousand. I don't think it was 49 when we looked. Maybe it was. But we didn't say the market was dying. We just said the market's going to change. All markets do. And we were going to kind of actually encouraging people to stay with the market and not feel like the sky is necessarily falling. So we decided to look at the numbers today and say, do the numbers point to no ball apocalypse, like Darian's saying, or do the numbers point to, oh my God, the sky is falling, there's a ball apocalypse still? And what does it all really mean? What does it all really mean? So we're going to cover a few things on here. Let's start with this. Darian made another post that I commented on. It was pretty funny, too. I don't know if you saw this one. It was on the Morph Market Facebook page. And it was something to the reference of, Morph Market's like a reptile show where you can skip all the ball python tables.
I did see that.
Did you see my comment?
I did not.
It was, so what does that mean? There's like 2 tables? Because if you go to a reptile show, that's kind of what it's like right now, right?
Yeah.
Ball python table, ball python table. Oh, that guy's got a different snake, and then about 9,000 ball pythons. Then you find a guy selling octopuses. It's kind of what happens.
Yeah.
It's a weird world out there, y'all. So we looked at the numbers. Let's see if it points to a ball apocalypse. We looked up just as of right now, which today is May the 2nd. Is that right?
Yes.
Yes. At approximately, we'll call it, 6:50 Central Time. There are 39,300 and my handwriting shitty, I think 96, maybe 16, somewhere in there, ball pythons. And this is in the United States and Canada, by the way. So we're not including all you Europeans. I'm sorry. We just use U.S. Canada numbers. It's what our Morph Market's set to. That's still a lot of animals, y'all. I want to put that into perspective because, that's down from 49,000. Some of that I understand was some cleared out old accounts, some old postings that have just never been removed, some things that have been sold that were all kinds of stuff. But some of those are also sold animals, probably a good number of them. So let's look at what other snakes are there. So we looked up boas. Caleb, how many boas are on Morph Market today?
3,089.
All right, 3,089. That's less than 10% of what there is for balls. Okay, what about carpets?
Only a whopping 239.
And one of them appears to be a gecko.
Yeah, there was a gecko.
I don't know how the hell that happened. People, if you're going to put a Morph Market ad up, tag it correctly, okay? Don't have a fucking gecko in the carpet pythons. You can't expect them to clean up all your messes. They have a lot of shit to do, so make sure you do your ad right. It'll sell better if you put that gecko in the geckos.
Geckos, yeah.
Just throwing that out there. So 239 or 238. What about colubrids? How many colubrids? Include all colubrids.
4,210.
My writing is really bad. It's a 5.
Oh, 5,210.
Yeah, 5,210. So the two largest groups would be the colubrids and the ball pythons that are on there. And this is talking about all animals on there, so we didn't get into the specific breakdown, the geckos, whatever you can find on there, because all that's on there, right? Ball pythons make up a whopping 61% of every snake listed for sale. Colubrids make up 8%. That's a pretty vast difference. So let's talk about those numbers really briefly. And if you just were to look at these numbers, whether it's 49,000 or 39,000, you're still going to see that ball pythons make up an exorbitant amount of what's on Morph Market. And that's not just Morph Market. They make up an exorbitant amount, just like Darian's comment about a show where you can skip the ball python tables. And my comment jokingly, too, about that means you got 2 tables, right? Because it's just how it is. They make up a large percentage of what you find at a show. There are people saying we should have shows that don't allow ball pythons. You know why that doesn't happen?
There'd be no show.
There'd be no damn show. Just being blunt with y'all, okay? There'd be very few shows anyway. So when you look at those numbers, it still would say on its face that we are overly saturated with ball pythons. But let me put it to you in a different perspective, because there's 2 ways you can look at. Not really this bottle of hand sanitizer. This bitch is almost empty. But you can have the half full, half empty thing is what I was kind of going to go with there, but that didn't work. You can look at that number and you can go, oh my God, there's 39,000 other snakes on there. And every show I go to, I take 30 ball pythons. Everybody else has 30 ball pythons. There's nothing but ball pythons. And I'm just tired of ball pythons. There's too many of them out there and the market's dead and oh, it's me. And You can do that. And I'll see people do that every day. As a matter of fact, I see people selling a big chunk. I had a guy tell me not long ago who I know and respect. I think he was just doing it out of frustration for one day. Hell with it, I'm getting out of ball pythons. You know what I mean? But again, I think that was one day frustration. I don't know. He hadn't told me he wants me to take all of them, so I'm guessing that. But you can look at it another way. Why is there 39,000 ball pythons? Why is every show ball python heavy? Why? Got an idea. You want to do me a favor? Can you go in there and grab Kronos?
Yes.
He won't bite you. So Caleb's going to get what's actually a small adult male carpet python. Okay, males being smaller than females. This is a small adult male carpet python. He's going to bring in just a second. I'm about to show you why, one of the reasons why I think this is. And this isn't a bad thing. Okay, ball pythons are so prevalent because they are kind of the perfect pet snake for a multitude of reasons. This is going to highlight one of those reasons. So as Caleb makes it back in here, maybe, I hope he didn't get eaten. I think 17 feet long, 350 pounds. It's big. It's big. No, that would be if I kept a humongous anaconda, which I don't, because they're big. They're a pain in the ass. Is that thing wrestling? Oh, there it comes.
All the way in the back.
What? So this is Kronos.
Crawl in.
This is the first snake I bought when I got back into snakes circa 2012 or so. Nope, 2013, because I just got the 10-year mark on Facebook notification. He's a good boy. Aren't you a good boy? But he is what would be considered small. He's not a female. He's an adult male, proven breeder. And you can see there's a lot of snake there. He moves a lot. You know, weight-wise, he's not huge. Let me get by you. He'll be a little bit thinner, but let's look here. We'll do a comparison sake. That's your best case scenario, unless you're getting like a smaller breed of carpet, like maybe your Aranjeas and things like that. Darwin's would be a little smaller, I think. Verse. Don't bite me. I'm not feeding you. Yeah, it is not feeding me. Oh, goodness gracious. Verse. Kind of your worst case scenario, female female ball python. And as you can see, she is much bigger around than he is, by far, right? But lengthwise, he's got her. He's got her 100 times over, you know? Like, I can't hang her too much, but, I mean, she's pretty long. But if you look at the length of him, he's much bigger. She requires a lot smaller space to keep. He requires a much bigger space to keep. As a matter of fact, that dude right now is living in he's kind of got a big cage. He's in a 6 foot by 2 foot by 2 foot, I believe. Yes, you are. And so there's a lot more that goes into keeping this animal than keeping that one. From a space constraint, from a size constraint, I've seen females of these that are 7.5 feet long and about that big around. Kurt, how big's your female boa?
About 10 feet.
10 feet? About how big around is she? Tell me when to stop.
Stop.
I'm used to holding something that big around. Coffee can. Anyway, she's about that big around. So she's about as big around as a big old Folgers can like your parents used to have, and she's about 10 feet. That is vastly different than keeping a ball python. You can put him up if you want. So the size, that's a big reason why there's 39,000 ball pythons on that market. You know, it just is. The other thing that comes into play is how many morphs are there, how many colors are there. There's something for everybody. When you get into your boas, there's a lot of morphs. So your carpets, there's a decent number of morphs. I wouldn't say a lot in carpets. I'm going to miss some, but of course you got Jag like he is. You've got some albino lines. You've got some axanthic lines. You've got some zebra lines. You've got some, I think there's a granite out there. There's a bunch of stuff out there, but it pales in comparison to just the sheer number of morphs and combos and combinations there are in ball pythons. There's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, not even including the crap that we name horribly that's actually the same damn thing. So there's that pushes it up. The reason you see so much is because so many people are interested in them. Okay? When we look at this market and we say there's 39,000 ball pythons and there's only 3,000 boas, oh my god, the market's fucked. It's terrible. The sky is falling. It's the ballpocalypse. If you looked at this in reference to cars, okay, how many Chevys out there? How many Ford F-150 trucks get sold every year? It's one of the best-selling vehicles in America, if not the best-selling vehicle in America. Your Honda Civic, right? There's an assload of them. They make an assload of them because an assload of them is going to sell. They're not going to make the same number of Ferraris because, well, then they wouldn't sell them. They wouldn't be special. You couldn't make that many, $1 million cars and sell them. There's a limited market to that. This is kind of the same thing, but not for prices because of the desirability due to size, care, information that's out there, color that's out there, personality of the animal. The ball python is the king because it combines and is perfect for all those things. And because of that is why there's 39,000. Where we would truly have a ballpocalypse is if we had the same 39,000 on there today that we have 3 months from now. Okay? If we still had 39,000 and it was the same 39,000, then we're having a problem. If you go to a show and no ball pythons sell, then we're having a problem. Prices are going to fluctuate as things become more common. And that's a demand thing, okay? When the demand for clown, which is a high demand, when there's more and more and more and more stock that pours into the market, so the demand isn't as hard to pay for because there's more options, you'll see the price of clown fall. That does not mean the ball python market's falling. Actually, it means it's healthy. That's what it actually means. It actually means it's doing what it's supposed to do and it's healthy. So it's not a concern whatsoever. So I don't know. I think the idea of it being a ballpocalypse, it's a funny word and a great word for it. But just because there's a lot doesn't mean it's bad.
I also think that number's slightly skewed.
Why is it skewed?
Well, if you think about it,
Well, I am.
let's take this 10 stack here, right? There's 10 right here. If you lay that down sideways, that's about the size of one boa, right?
Yeah.
One cage for a boa. You'd want it maybe a little bit taller. I don't know. Not the exact dimensions. So if you can keep 10 ball pythons for one boa cage, there's
but that's
39,000 ball pythons. 3,000 boas, you times that by 10, you're almost the exact same number. More people can hold 10 to 15 ball. One person on average could probably easily have 10, 15 ball pythons, no problem. 10, 15 boas.
It's hard to have it's more expensive. But space-wise, you put this on its side, you actually have to compare it to not a 10 stack, but a 10, 20, let's say 30, 40 stack, right? If your cage is going to be that long, or a 30 stack. We'll go to a 30 stack. But you can stack boas, too. So, you'd probably be able to stack 5 or 6 in there. And if you're breeding them, 5 boas, if you have 5 female boas or 3 female boas producing, you're going to produce about 75 babies. To produce 75 babies here, I would need 10 would be 60 on average. I need about 12. So, like, we could produce boas at the same rate we produce ball pythons, most likely, if we tried real hard. I think we could.
Yeah, I just don't think the vast majority of customers, because you do have customers who are not breeding, who do have them as pets and have them like
Absolutely.
infinity stones, and you couldn't do that with boas.
They just have 3 or 4. They want the snake that's the right size. They want the snake that's less likely to bite. They want that first snake. And there's always been animals in the reptile industry that tend to be the king of that. And they change occasionally, but ball pythons have been so resilient in that, I do not foresee them getting knocked off that throne. The last snake to hold that throne was probably a corn snakes. Mm-hmm. But even then, it was kind of a trade-off, because a corn snake really ain't that exotic. You can find one, you know, they don't call them Russian corn snakes, right? They're here. And they move a lot.
Yeah.
And they kind of got a bad case of resting bitch face. You know, there's a lot of morphs with them, but a lot of it's recessive. They just, I don't think people like them as their first pet. They pick them up, like a corn snake does, which they do.
Yeah.
You know, whereas the ball python picks up like, hey, I'm a ball python, you know? So the ball pythons dethrone them for that. The corn snakes are just, you know, retics can't ever have that throne. They're just too damn big. Same with boas, same with berms, same with carpets. And I love carpets. It's not me ripping those animals. I've kept all of those animals in some capacity or another, whether at my house or when we had part of a shop, having them there, anacondas, same thing. But boas are just hard. About the only animal I could really see pushing for that title, and I don't think it'll ever get there because there's just hurdles, and the ball python has none, would be something like a hognose. You know, hognoses are cute.
Yeah.
Hognoses are small. Hognoses have some good number of morphs. Hognoses are also banned in a lot of places. Damn it. There's a hurdle, right?
And their diet.
And their diet. And so, like, they're just more difficult. They're great snakes, but they're not going to probably unthrow ball pythons.
No.
So do we have a ball apocalypse? The only thing I would say that is a ball apocalypse here is the fact that in some ways ball pythons have pushed other animals down the list. The reason there's only 5,210 colubrids is because there's 39,000 ball pythons. And guys, that's a demand thing too. There is enough demand that that's being bred to meet it. So I can guarantee you, your larger breeders, right?
Yeah.
I'm not talking your small guys. People like us, our die is cast. We're going to do what we're doing. But your large people who this is how they eat, if ball pythons weren't the market that was going to pay the bills, guess what they would do?
Corn snakes or whatever.
They'd breed something else.
Yeah.
They'd breed something else. That's so the market is supporting, like, that 39,000 is supported by market demand. Same with the shows. That's why there's 8 out of 10 snakes at a show are a ball python. Market is supporting the demand. How far can that go? I don't know. How far do you think it can go? How far do you think we are from an actual ball apocalypse?
I don't think we'll ever get there.
Yeah, I don't think the number on Morph Market, no, sorry, Darian, Morph Market, I'm glad you got it. But I don't think the number that are for sale on Morph Market matters a two shits as far as whether we're having a ball apocalypse or not. It's all about demand.
Yeah, I don't think the demand ever goes away. As long as we keep being a like, opening and welcoming hobby, right? Because there's some hobbies that literally killed themselves because they became very toxic. If we stay open and wanting to educate the others on, like, some Facebook groups, right, then I think it constantly grows. There will always be an interest.
I agree with that. I also think you have to have an entry price point that's acceptable to most people.
Yeah.
Now, you can have your high-end price point. It's not me advocating against high-end price snakes at all. You need those. But you need that in. You can't be just here. There's a reason most car guys aren't Ferrari collectors, okay? There's a reason a lot of dudes are building those short bed Chevys, which now are expensive as fuck.
Yeah, they are.
They didn't used to be, but now, shit, you can't touch one. Same with Chevy Vegas back in the day. There's a reason guys were doing that, you know. But I agree with that 100%. So, yeah, the only thing I could see causing it is if we cease to grow as a market. And I don't foresee it. Let me put this to you guys out there that have multiple snakes or have kept multiple types of species of snake. You know, and right now I'll tell you what we keep. We keep bloods, corns. Nope, sorry. We keep bloods. We don't have a fucking corn. Bloods, boas, carpets, ball pythons, and a plethora of hots. Am I leaving any species out? That's kind of it, isn't it?
I think so.
And I can tell you, and I want you to ask yourself this too if you've got multiple snakes. When you have a kid come over who's interested in snakes, and you want to light that fire for them, you want to like make them more interested, like what snake do you put in their hands?
The cobra.
Yeah, I'm gonna get the fucking rattlesnake out. Be like, here you go, kid. Maybe it was no, I wouldn't do that. No, for me it's a ball python every time, and the second snake, is also a ball python. I'm never gonna pull that carpet python. Hasn't bit anybody in years. He's a little bitty guy, but I'm not gonna put that on them because they're gonna find it somewhat intimidating for their first snake. It's gonna move a lot. I'm gonna find a ball python that's got his little head in a ball, have them put their hands like this and sit in there and watch the magic happen. And because that's what we do, and what they're really good for, is why they're going to sit on that throne and why we're not having a ball apocalypse. If anything, the rest of the reptile market's suffering a little bit because of the prevalence of ball pythons. Kurt, anything you want to add to all this?
No.
What do you think?
I think...
Make him talk.
And maybe we can talk more about this on Patreon.
Oh, he dropped the Patreon, my man!
But I think the reason why, too, is because ball pythons are easy to breed. People can get them and breed. Than compared to, like, some other... Because I know, like, I don't know how this is, but I think on some corns, you have to brumate them.
Yeah. They're going to do better with brumation, but you can breed them twice a year, so there is that aspect. But yeah, that's good. We'll talk about that. That is a good point. That is a good Patreon point. Look at that dude coming in with fire. Caleb, what do you think? Anything else you want to add to this?
Not really. I don't think they'll ever get to a ball apocalypse. I can't see that being a thing. I think there comes a point. I can see where there's a possibility where, we've bred so much that it's harder to have that high-end stuff. It's just going to be like 30 genes, and at that point you can't tell what's in there, and your odds of hitting that are so low. And I do see some people like getting out because they dedicated their entire business wrong and did just high-end or things like that, and then the hobby shrinks a bit, but I don't think it goes away ever.
I think those people will be fine if they are able to move and adjust when the time comes. But because what's high-end today isn't tomorrow.
Right. Yeah.
The days of the $10,000 banana
are gone.
The days of the $10,000 killer zebra bee are gone. The days of the
$20,000
albino.
I have a friend who posted a picture of a $3,000 pastel.
Gone.
Yeah.
Gone.
Crazy.
I mean, can I even get 3,000 pennies? No, that's $300, isn't it?
Yeah.
I can't get 3,000 pennies now. So that would be worth less than 1% of what it was.
Yeah.
Right? $1 would be 1% of 100. No, $30 would be 1% of 3,000. Right? Yeah. So it's worth 3% of its original value. 3%. It's a 97% market fall. Oh my God, it's a ball apocalypse! It's not. It's just normally what happens. All right, guys, that's all we got then. Thanks for watching, and we will catch you next time.